So can we save Fumi at the festival? Before we get to today's video, I want to take a moment to talk about Patreon. That's right, we are on Patreon now, and we have a bunch of tiers with a bunch of great rewards. You can subscribe and get things like early access to all reactions, depending on your tier, depends on which reactions you get early access to. You can vote on polls exclusive to patrons that will help determine future reaction series and more. You will get to just have various choices in terms of like getting to choose future reactions I react to, getting to choose first impressions I check out, all kinds of different rewards, and possibly more coming in the future. We're still new at this. We're still figuring things out. It's a process. It's a process. But we have multiple tiers, so whatever you would be able to donate, if you're able and willing to donate, is appreciated. It helps me out, it helps the channel out, it helps us grow. It's going to help just, standardly. It's just something new to check out. Plus, if you like getting the reactions early, that's also a plus. But it is optional. If you're unable to do it, that's completely fine. All reactions will come to YouTube just a little bit later, a week later or so. So that all being said, thank you as always so much, and let's get on with today's video. And with that being said, hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to episode 10 of Sanda. And Fumi Namatame is psychotic, but she also has a really sad backstory that explains how her mind kind of broke. It's really fucked, and like her mother just became so obsessed with her self-image because of, well, let's be honest, because of how society has become. And it shows that her mother was kind of a victim herself. And so Fumi kind of killing her acted as almost a mercy killing, but also, was because of Fumi having a mental break from all the stress and pain, and her mother, suddenly lobbing off her arm, her hands being the only natural part of her that Fumi could connect to. It's really sad. It's really sad, and I really want Fumi to be okay. I said this last time, but maybe I'm just, having some of those Santa Claus protective feelings as well. But it's like, this tends to happen with most things I watch, where it's like I get like really protective of characters like this. I don't think I mentioned this last time, but I actually have a name for like this trope of characters who are like this, who have become damaged or hurt or whatnot because of like intense trauma that they've gone through. I call the trope the trauma baby trope. I use this especially for the series Symphogear, because it is incredibly relevant in Symphogear, constantly incredibly relevant. But I've used it for other things too, and there's like so many shows with characters you can absolutely use this trope for. I mostly tend to use it for characters who are still pretty young, whether they be teenagers or younger or maybe young adults, but anybody can be a trauma baby. It's more about kind of the vibe they give off. If they're like you just really feel bad for them because of how, otherwise kind they may come across. Because with Fumi here, it's like she seems really nice, and she has like this like kind attitude and everything. She seems like a normal everyday like kid, but it's only when she kind of flips that switch that you get this other like feeling from her, this like frightening, scary vibe. And again, it's like it is like flipping a switch with her because of the intense trauma. She kind of has like these two sides. It's not quite like a DID situation. For those who don't know, dissociative identity disorder. It's not like that, but it's like two sides to her that are struggling to almost take control. She has, the side of her that's still just a kid, just trying to be, kind and gentle and just enjoying life as best she can. But then there's the side of her that's been so heavily traumatized, been so heavily like hurt that she almost kind of hurts others, kills others and stuff as like a way of dealing with it, a way of coping with her pain. And it's really sad. And so I like almost have this mama bear instinct to want to see characters like this be okay. And it's just, she's definitely a character I'm very much feeling that with. And this series is already chock full of characters like this. Like, obviously, any of these characters you could make that comparison to. Fuyamura and Ono is another example. Both of them count for this. But I think Fumi is just a little more intense about it. And because Fuyamura can get pretty intense with like the bombs and shit. But with Fuyamura, it's almost comical. It's almost like played for laughs. With Fumi, it comes across as more like a cry for help. It's a very different vibe with their characters. And I actually really appreciate how that's written. They very much come across incredibly differently as characters. Also, I found out that Fumi's voice actress, Maria Issei, is Himeno from Chainsaw Man. So that's fun. Also a very trauma-related character who just gave another character trauma from her death. So, ugh. Aki really hadn't been doing well after that, which fair. Which we got to see in the Rize film. Like, we actually got to see how Aki was not dealing with that very well. And how he was, like, really, like, breaking down about the possibility of losing anyone else. He's, like, so tired of losing people. And it's just like, Jesus, that's sad. But this is about Chainsaw Man. It's just a connection that I saw. I think I've heard the name Maria Issei before as well. I think she's done plenty of other notable roles. I think she's a pretty noteworthy VA. But Himeno is the one I specifically had heard about, so I couldn't tell you what other roles she's done off the top of my head. I don't know who Fumi's voiced by in the dub, though. I've only checked out the dub very briefly, and it was good, but I don't know who else is in it. But I don't even remember who was, like, Fuyamura and Sanda, so... well. I'm excited to get into more of this, though. But before we do, really quickly, I do want to remind you all that we have a Patreon now. For those of you who are new or have maybe not checked out the channel in a while, at the beginning of the year, we opened up a Patreon. And on said Patreon, you can get early access to all reactions, depending on your tier. Different tiers give access to a different number of types of reactions. For example, the $5 tier, you get early access to movies. The $10 tier is movies and shows, and so on and so forth. Each tier adding in a new type of reaction that you get early access to. You'll also get other rewards, such as getting to vote on future polls, getting to choose things for me to react to in the future, getting to choose first impressions for me to check out in the future, and stuff like that. There's a full breakdown of all the rewards you can get depending on tiers down in the description below. It's just on the Patreon page. The Patreon is linked in the description. Go there for all of the breakdown of each of the tiers and more. Pretty much all reactions will be a week early on the Patreon. All movies, all shows, specialty reactions, first impressions will come there first. But they will all come to YouTube. And the Patreon is obviously optional. It's something I can't force you to do, so. But I do appreciate all of those who do subscribe because it does help me out. Doing YouTube, whether on this channel or the gaming channel, this is like full time for me. So any bit of help I can get is really appreciated because this money does go towards the channel, the channels, whether to getting new stuff I need for it at any point, like a new webcam, new mic, or even like for the gaming channel helps me get new games to be able to, do Let's Plays for. But it also helps me out in the general sense as well because, again, I do this full time. But like I said, it's completely optional. I can't force you into doing it. If you are able and willing, I do appreciate it. And whatever tier you're able to afford. I do also have a $1 tier for those who just want to add in a tiny bit of support but can't really afford much of anything else. So there is that too. You don't really get a huge amount of rewards with that. That's just the support tier. But it's on there just as an option if you want to support but can't really, again, dedicate yourself to anything more. That all being said, though, I think we should get on with this reaction and see what this episode has to offer, so let's check it out. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. Welcome to the Afterthoughts, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, they kept mentioning this entire thing about kids can be cruel, and that is true. But this isn't about that. I think that's intentional. I think, it's supposed to be these characters kind of seeing and viewing this in the wrong way. And I feel like next episode might kind of turn that around to a degree. Because it's not cruelty in any means here, with anything going on. But the people who are being affected by it are seeing that. Sanda is seeing the cruelty because of, being shot at by this psychotically broken kid. And Ono is seeing this because her feelings aren't being reciprocated by Fuyamura. But Fuyamura running off is out of worry, is out of concern, is out of, love in a way. And not necessarily romantic love, but the love of friends. She's worried about Sanda and she wants to go help him because they've become good friends. And that's a positive, no matter how you look at it. And you could say the same thing about Sanda leaving Nico and everything. He was worried about Fumi and knew she was going to go after him anyway and everything. And he handled that in the best way he could have with her, and even apologized to her. And it's just it's hard because both with him and Fuyamura, both of them were apologetic to the people they were leaving behind, but both of them did still leave them behind. And while it wasn't shown as much with Nico, with Ono, it's definitely something that she's bothered by, because we saw her grabbing at her heart, and it's clearly meant to represent heartbreak over the fact that Fuyamura isn't returning her feelings. And she sees this as like almost like unintentionally cruel. But again, it's not necessarily that Fuyamura doesn't have feelings for Ono. It's that she's at a point in her life where she's still like trying to figure everything out. She doesn't know if she has feelings yet. She's not sure about that. Because she's still so young and she's not like she hasn't really been thinking too much about that. So it's a very complicated issue that Ono is weirdly enough seen very childishly. Like if you think about it, seeing things as like very simplistic and like almost like a black and white issue is very childlike. In reality, the more adult way to view things is with more nuance, to understand that there's a lot more to it. That oftentimes people have various reasons that it's also complicated when it comes to things like love. So Ono seeing this as a very much black and white thing, like, oh, Fuyamura doesn't return those feelings because of one thing she said. That's a very childlike way of viewing things and proves that Ono is still a child, that she is still a kid. Like, if nothing else, that kind of proves that entire point. But the problem is society, and especially the principal, I've remembered his name pretty well lately, but now I'm forgetting it. But he and society are pushing this entire idea, especially on Ono right now, that because she's hit puberty, she's suddenly an adult. Her face has become the face of an adult. Again, not how any of this works. But they're pushing this on her, and she believes it because she has no reason not to. It's how things are taught and how things are like presented, and so she's kind of like fallen into the trap of just accepting that. But the reality of the situation is not even close to that. And I'm really hoping that she does figure that out. Her face at the end, like, was, I don't know, I'm worried that Ono might, like, reach a breaking point herself. I really don't want that to happen, obviously, but maybe they could play with the idea of, like, making us think she's going to have a breakdown, but Fuyamura being able to stop it in time. I don't know. We also have Sanda and Nico sharing their first kiss with each other, and second kiss. Nico kisses Sanda, taking him by surprise, but he realizes more than ever that he actually does like it. That it is actually something he wants. And again, I pointed out in the reaction, but it's very clear that Nico and Sanda do have feelings for each other. Even outside of just them being, betrothed because of this society, they do both genuinely like each other. But Sanda is conflicted with everything going on top of finding Nico to be a little bit much, which, fair enough, but with the entire Santa stuff and everything, he's also conflicted about that and really worried about, like, the ethical boundaries of that. But the reality is, while he can transform into this, like, adult state, he is still a 15-year-old kid. Like, no matter how you look at it, he is, like, a 15-year-old kid, and it's not weird. Just because he has, like, this transformed state doesn't suddenly make him an actual adult. It's just, as long as you're not, like, kissing her while you're in that form, That would be a bit weird for a number of reasons. That would be weird. But you're a kid, and you're kissing her while as a kid, so it's like it's fine. But I understand like the confusion of the entire thing because of just this entire transformation state in the first place. It's a weird situation to have to think about like boundaries with. But after their first kiss, he ends up kissing her back, giving the second kiss, and goes a little too far with it because he's overthinking it the entire time and ends up like sucking way too hard, which is like, I don't think that's how you're supposed to do that in the first place. Um, but yeah, I actually kind of think they're kind of cute together. I kind of like their chemistry. I think I think it's very clear again that they have like interest in each other, and I think it's a cute ship. I think they make a cute couple. Um, I'd like to see this developed and like maybe them talk about things more. I'm still wondering if Nico's gonna find out he's Santa. I have to assume so, but I'm very curious to see like I want to see them discuss like the entire thing about this being an arranged marriage in the first place. I really want to see them go into that a little more. But obviously, the big like highlight of the episode and the big focus is Fumi. We first see Yagyuda try to confront her, and that goes about as well as you'd think. She shoots him in the arm and just isn't really willing to listen to like reason. Yagyuda's backstory is talked about and how he like panicked when he was a kid to a love confession and just kind of like fucked everything over, and it kind of sent him down a spiral in his life that turned him into a drunk and a chain smoker. And he basically admits that he doesn't want Sanda and the others to become like him because he feels like he's a failure. And in a way, he is. And he's self aware of that. And he's not afraid to admit that he's failed, that he's become, like he's wasted his life, basically. And him showing that despite everything, and despite the fact that he's supposed to be, hunting down and killing Santa, he's still showing this, like, care for Sanda as a person, as a kid, is just great to see. I actually love to see the nuance with Yagyuda's character, and I'm thinking it's going to lead into him, like, not just being a almost reluctant ally, but I think he's going to, like, be a full ally a lot sooner rather than later. And I'm all for that. I think Yagyuda's a really fascinating character. But Fumi is just so broken, and as are the other kids of Class 10. When Sanda comes in, transformed into Black Santa, he expresses that, like, as Black Santa, he doesn't see, like, as much a difference between kids and adults because adults used to be kids too. And so he just sees everybody as equal and shows that even as Black Santa, he's still Santa and he's still not going to hurt the kids. So he chooses to fight them instead by hugging them, by showing love, by showing care. And he does, like hug them unconscious. But it's not violent. It's not, like, aggressive. It's not, like, fighting, exactly. And so it's showing that he's refusing to, like, really hurt a child. And he's able to take out all the other Class 10 students who all have the same bowl cut, fringe bang hairstyle, which I love that they pointed that out. I love that they actually, like, self-aware pointed that out. That's really funny. Um, but it's left to just him and Fumi And she, of course, you know, being as broken as she is, just unloads into him and he just takes it. But he's not giving up, and he trained himself to be able to withstand this all. So I really, really want to see him save her. She's so broken, she's so hurt, she's so just traumatized. And I really want to see Sanda, like, throw aside that idea that, you know, kids are, like, cruel, and see that this kid is hurt, that she's in pain. And that he can help her. And again, I feel like they're doing that with this series. I feel like between all these characters we've seen, starting with Fuyamura, it's a lot of this is about Sanda, like, helping them find hope and happiness and safety, and just allowing them to be kids, allowing them to, you know, not have to worry about all these burdens that are being placed on them and all these pains and all this shit with this societal, like, expectation. I think more than anything, this series as a whole is about child trauma and is about children needing to be treated like children. Because this idea of, like, trying to force this unhealthy ideology on them and trying to, like, force this weird, like, take on adulthood and childhood, it's like it mentally, emotionally, it fucks them up. And kids need to be, like, allowed to live their lives in a natural way that allows them to grow up healthy and safe and happy. So there's a lot of depth to this. And I've talked before how this is, like, from the same creator as Beastars, and how Beastars touches on a lot of big topics too. There's definitely YouTube videos out there. I would suggest there's this one video essay made by the YouTuber Keith Ballard. I would suggest checking out if you haven't. But he goes very in depth about a lot of the themes and everything about Beastars, and especially, like, how, like, queer it is and everything, without, like, being as direct about it as it could be. It's a lot more direct in this one, the queerness. But there's a lot of thematic elements here that I'm just, like, really a fan of. And I just really want to see, like, explored in greater depth. And I think we will. I definitely think we will. So tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of Sanda? We're getting close already to the end of the season, and that's wild to me. I think there's 13 episodes for this series, at least for this season. But yeah, it's like it seems to be flying by. Although we're already in February, so I guess not technically flying by that quick. Either way, I think that this series just is really delving deep into a lot of important stuff that needs to be talked about a lot more in society. So tell me your thoughts down below, and for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.